Hi, I'm Kim Eddleston with Entrepreneurial and Innovation Exchange, and it's a pleasure to be here today with Professor Tucker Marion, who is co-chair of the Entrepreneurial and Innovation Department of Northeastern University. He's got many years of entrepreneurial experience and new product development. He's also a faculty director of the MS Innovation program. So today, he's going to talk a little bit about how you actually innovate new products based on both his research as well as his personal experience creating new products. And he has this new book that he co-wrote with Sebastian Fixon, the Innovation Navigator. So thank you so much for being here with me today, Tucker.
Thank you, Kim. Great to be here.
So tell us, how do we do it? How do we innovate new products?
That's a great question, Kim. And the interesting thing is that most existing companies, and of course entrepreneurial startups, they ask that question too. And even those that are successful still may not get the process right. And in fact, data shows that. So the first study that was done on new product success rates was done in the late 60s. And the failure rates of new products and services then was 40%. Recent studies show that it's exactly the same. So there's still a lot that we need to know and understand about the process of new product or service development. The thing is that there are companies that seem to do it well, and there are common themes within that they tend to exhibit, and it doesn't matter the industry that they're in. So one of the things that we want to think about is the team itself. The actual collection of people that are put together to develop that product or that service and go from concept all the way to getting it out and hopefully earning some money at the end of the day. So think about an entrepreneurial team. Most new ventures have very little resources. So it's important that you find the right people that you're going to partner with, either found the company or hire them early on, or engage with contract outside resources. So I'll give you an example. There's a product that I have here that's a somewhat simple consumer product. It's a stapler product. Here it is. They started in 2003 with an idea from an entrepreneur that was working on something completely different and had the idea for kind of a better stapler, better mousetrap product, which many people develop successful businesses on. But he didn't necessarily know where to go. He found a very successful inventor that had some innate knowledge on stapler development and developed an initial product that did really well, got into Staples and Office Max and Office Depot.
Excellent.
So this is a small company growing, good success story. But then what do? Well, you have to have multiple different product lines that you need to get out into the marketplace. If you're going to grow, you need to have additional products. So one of the things that they did is they contracted with an outside small design and engineering firm, and that immediately gave them additional resources that are not fixed costs, but variable costs. So if we're thinking about the bottom line, if you bring a company like this in for a year and a half, you have all of their engineering resources and power, you bring them on when you need, and then you can let them go, rather than hiring 2 or 3 full-time engineers that you have to keep them busy and pay for themselves.
Oh, so you can outsource.
That's right, exactly. So outsourcing is a good methodology for the new venture because you're keeping your fixed costs relatively low. If I have a variable cost and increase that side of my balance sheet for a little while, that's okay. So that's one of the strategies that an entrepreneur can do. So this particular company did that with multiple different projects, this including one of them, and were able to commercialize successfully all of that entire product line and really grew their company very rapidly based on the good use of outside resources and contracting. So that's a beneficial side and one of the things that a team can do to increase its size for a new venture.
So Tucker, in your book, you have an excellent chapter on how organizations should act more like new ventures. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So in the book, we talk about different modes of innovation. And one of them is how established corporations can become more entrepreneurial, which almost all of them want to do. And why look to new ventures? Well, new ventures are somewhat unique in the fact that they have limited amount of resources, limited amount of human capital. So if those that do well and make it to market and make money, they did something really interesting, right? And if you can do that within a large corporation, you're giving the ability of just general employees to become more entrepreneurial. So that's what we want to promote within companies. And to do that, they need to do a couple things. Number one, they need to empower their employees to be self-selecting. If they raise their hand and say, hey, I have a great idea, even if you're not in R&D or research and development, give them the tools that they can do to promote that idea. Companies that are very successful in developing an entrepreneurial ecosystem allow that to happen. One of the firms that we studied is a Boston-based famous technology firm, and they spent over 10 years developing an entrepreneurial ecosystem where individuals could submit ideas, those ideas would get voted on, those ideas could get funded, they could leave their job and actually create that venture within the corporation and actually run that as they would a regular venture on the outside. And that initiative, as I had mentioned, took over 10 years of constant refinement and revision over time. But a couple of key aspects is that they empowered employees. Monetary compensation wasn't the number one driver, it was actually recognition. They promoted these things throughout the organization, these initiatives. They provided education and mentoring, and also be able to link people of similar interests to allow these ventures to start to get a critical mass of not only the idea, but the people working on the project. And they allowed the people to work on those projects and leave their current job. That's a big, tall order for companies to do that. But some of the lessons learned is that if companies really want to become entrepreneurial, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort over the long term. It could take a decade or more. And lots of support from upper level management, and also the ability to kind of tweak and change the process as you go forward, and really invest and empower those individuals that have the ideas and take them forward.
So why do you think organizations become stagnant over time or maybe less innovative?
Well, research shows that companies can be embedded or wedded to certain technologies. So, people have studied Kodak for a long time, or Polaroid, companies that were leaders in a particular industry, even may have invented technology that ultimately disrupted them, as in Kodak inventing digital photography in the 80s. But so research has shown that there's an inertia within corporations that the culture can be stagnant. And it may not even be upper level management. You might have new CEOs come in that are trying to move the organization. But if that kind of amorphous middle is stagnant or tied or mated to that older technology and way of doing things, it's very hard to get that company to change or try new products or services in the marketplace.
What would be your recommendation for new entrepreneurs?
Well, number one is why not? And why not do it? Because right now we are in a situation where there's never been a better time to start a business. The resources that are available at the university level, and many universities are very, very helpful in the organizations, in the professors, access to small amounts of funds, maker spaces, projects and classes. All of these things point to the fact that if you are a young entrepreneur, you can find the resources to do it. This is very different than you and I were in college, where if you had an idea, where did you turn? Did you turn to the innovation commercial that was on TV? Do you turn to a rich uncle? Maybe, I don't know. But there wasn't the amount of resources available to people that want to start a business. And it cuts across industries, it cuts across types of businesses. It's very easy to be a sole proprietor that has an interesting craft that you can sell on Etsy.
What if you have a great idea, but you're not an engineer? What do you do? Can you develop a new product, or is it only for the engineers of the world?
The great thing is that I think that everybody has at least one good idea or great idea in their lifetime.
I'm waiting for mine.
I'm sure it's there. The thing is that most of us aren't a coder or aren't an engineer. But the great thing about today is that you have a whole area of service platforms on the internet that can help you get the right resources you need. This is one of the things we talk about in the book, that the barrier to entry for employees in a large organization or just people on the outside are so low now that you can find an engineer on Elance. You can find an electrical or mechanical engineer on guru.com. You can find a factory on mfg.com and located either in the United States or in China. So all these things are available for very, very low cost that can really allow you to express your idea and start to test it and see if it's a good idea. And then if signals are positive, make that happen. Additionally, there's also areas of fundraising that were not around 15 or 20 years ago. So we have the industry of crowdfunding. So Kickstarter and Indiegogo that allows smaller projects that probably wouldn't have ever been able to get any kind of financing, be able to get the money they need to at least test the market. So again, it doesn't matter what industry you're in or what level of funding or what level of business you are. If you have an idea, you can get the resources you need to develop the product. So don't be afraid, jump in.
That was excellent advice. Thank you so much, Tucker.
Thank you, great to be here.
Hopefully that'll encourage more people to create new products, to remain innovative. I hope you get a copy of Tucker Marion's book with Sebastian Fixon, The Innovation Navigator. This is Kim Eddleston with Entrepreneur and Innovation Exchange. Thank you.